Good morning and welcome to Life University's Life Church. This is your life host, the Reverend Dr. Donisia Palmer Wallace. Today, it is so good to join you one more time here on Life University's Life Church. If this is your first time, welcome. Our topic today, touching heaven, touching God, the issue of blood and the issue of love. Touching heaven, touching God, touching heaven, touching God is an issue of love. Touching heaven, touching God, it's an issue of love. This morning, touching heaven, touching God. We all need to do that this week. Before we go into today's segment, a very interesting segment lined up for you, I would like you to join me in a grateful breath, a grateful attitude to the start of our new week. The clocks have gone back here in the UK and perhaps everywhere in the world. But here we are in this, what we call time, in this season. And we just want to stop and take a deep breath, a breath of gratitude. So could you join me and lay aside every care, every thought, and just enter into the spaciousness we call now, and into the now, into the presence we call God, we call life, into the spaciousness we call good, and it is okay. And as we enter into this spaciousness of now, of presence, of it is okay, of God, of life, of our awareness, that there is only this now moment. Let us breathe in, hold it, and breathe out. We are going to deliberately take another deep, wonderful breath of thanksgiving, appreciation for all that life is, has been, and is very much this very moment, okay? Very much this moment. Let's take a deep breath of gratitude and appreciation. So many things might have been going on all around you, but in that moment, in this now moment is all that we have, isn't it? Is all that we are. In today's segment, we are going to take a look at the story of the woman who was miraculously healed. She was healed from an issue, they call it an issue of blood, by the Master Christ. In the Holy Scriptures, we know very much and is familiar with Jesus the Christ. Here we will, we will look behind the scenes and we'll take a dive into getting a deeper understanding of what actually took place before, during, and to understand clearer the cause of the healing, the resulting beauty, the resulting health which followed. That's what we are about here at Life University's Life Church. It is about fresh thought life words. That means the words that are coming to you today, they're alive. Not just because I'm alive, but because they're ram-packed with goodness, they're ram-packed with health. And so we need to take hold of them. We need to grab them. We need to feed on them. We need to rewind our videos during the week and see if we have missed something by just turning off midway and saying, this is not interesting, or, what is this? So the background text, we see that this illness or the situation took place for the period of 12 long years. Well, something that is unpleasant that's going on for 12 long years, we need to, and then it suddenly, this is the beauty of this story, that something was unpleasant for 12 long years, and then something happened, and in that it happened instantly. In fact, there was a situation that's called a straightwayness. Okay, so it's straightway something happened. So we need to find that out, because maybe for you or me, well, for you, you might be going through something that has gone on, gone on for years, gone on for months. And, you might, like this person in the story, tried lots of things and it hasn't worked. Or, in fact, like in our story, things grew rather worse. So this thing went on in our story, of this woman, who was suffering for 12 long years. And the text actually described her condition as having an issue of blood. Now, I'm going to go into that. It is recorded, right? Why I think it's very special. It's recorded in the miracles of Jesus. And we know that we heard some phenomenal miracles, like taking 2 loaves and 5 fishes, 5 loaves of bread, 2 fish, and fed like thousands and thousands of people. That's like miracles, yeah. We heard of um, him walking on water, and those who followed him actually walking on water. So many miracles. There was a lady who had her only carer and person looking after her, who happened to be her son. They were taking him, what they call it wasn't coffin at that time, we call it the briar, and they was taking him to the tomb, and we heard that it was just a touch and he was made healed. So, I could go on and on for the miracles of turning water into wine and so on. So, because this story is recorded in the miracles of Jesus in 3 different settings, okay? 3 different writers wrote about it. So I think that's anything that's been written about, in the newspaper, say it's been in a local paper, it's been in the worldwide paper, it's on the news, it's probably worth listening to. Not that I listen to news or reading newspapers, but, in the majority, when something is being written so conclusively by many writers, okay, not at a specific time or in a specific place, but all over the world in different places, it's worth having a look at. So these writings by someone called the Apostle Matthew, Mark, and a great holy physician. Actually, this was a doctor, a medical certified doctor called Luke, way back then. So it's got some historical parts to it. So I thought we would look at this story this morning in a fresh light, okay? Fresh thought, life word. So we're not looking at it as something that has happened back then to this person. I mean, I'm not sure where they got the name, that the person's name was Veronica, but I think it's the likeness of the story they're saying, the background of that. Her name was Veronica. We have no, that's a modern thing. But whoever she was suffering for 12 years. And I am using that. Today we're going to look at the story from a different perspective. Okay, we're going to look at it allegorically, so that, how does that fit into our life and our situation, rather than looking at it from something that has happened, but that we are learning to take control or take responsibility. That's a better thing, isn't it? A lot of people don't like the word control. It's, yeah, we'll say take responsibility. Yeah, we are we're a bit more prone to go with the word responsibility. So we want to take responsibility for our actions, for our words, for our feelings, and for our future, for the outcome of our life. Not blaming others or depending on others for our happiness, not even depending on the tablets for our health, but knowing that encoded, like I said last week, encoded in our DNA, in our chromosome structure, in our genetic makeup, is a message, okay, that we can draw on and find our own health. If you want to know more of that, you're going to have to take the course, okay, on Life University's website. There's going to be, we can't have live classes at the moment due to the present situation, but there is a new course that you can sign up for. I call it a life course because The course, even though it's in 3 segments, you can take that course over and over and over. It's such a repetitive medicine. It's a life medicine. Anyway, I'm diverted back to the subject of the situation, which is called the issue of blood. So, in our story, we were told that for years this woman um, had an issue. And we were told, okay, in the story that it had to do with a menstrual cycle, okay, the woman's menstruation, to do with her periods, to do with the menstrual cycle, and the uncleanness of woman um, in during this time. So it's an issue not just affecting, it's particularly pointed to women and about the uncleanness. And as I think this came from scriptures or the old writings, not just contained in the Christian setting, but we read about that in other settings, religiously. So, and people actually believe that. They believe that they need to be sick during menstrual cycle. They believe that people are not as clean and so on. We're not going to go into that. That is, this uncleanness is very interesting because if we're looking at the story from where the text originally comes from and where it's been preached and lived and so on and believed, the woman. I mean, I don't mean the woman like in the story, but just womanhood, if she sits on something, if she lies on something, if she walks on something or touches something, basically, it was like, ooh, she was a contaminant. She was, it was contaminated. It was unclean. So much like our fear of what we are in our situation today, of people getting close. People are skeptic, isn't it, about getting close even to their own family or friends. Friends are not meeting up now, are they? Because people are basically scared that somebody is a contaminant. So hence the mask, the hand sanitizer, the sprays, the wipe, etc. However, what I'm saying, we're not looking at it from that perspective. Nothing to do with the menstrual cycle, okay? We're looking at it today, the story of this woman from a different perspective, from a allegorical perspective. So it's an allegorical situation which affect all humanity. That's affecting all humanity or can affect all humanity. And therefore, the cure is then a universal cure, isn't it, if it's affecting all humanity, rather than just pointing to one part of humanity like a woman, okay, or the woman, or the male, or so on. So an issue of blood then has to do in the story or in our segment today with the condition of humanity, that is, of mankind, of man, woman, boy, girl, okay, to do with the human. And a condition that affects all humanity has to do with you. It has to do with me. And the healing then, the healing, see, this is the beauty of today's story. The beauty is the healing which took place. If this is if we're looking at in an allegorical setting of a condition that affect humanity, then the healing which took place in the story that is allegorical, that's affecting humanity, the healing much that took place then must be available for you today. I'm sorry for all the people that clicked out before they got to this point. I think we are about 13 minutes in. If people have clicked off, they're not going to get it. Because, okay, in Matthew, there's a book in scripture that's, called Matthew. And from chapter 9, verse 20 through to 22, then also by another writer. So not only Matthew, but Mark in his writing, chapter 5, from verse 25 through to 34, all these verses tells us a story. It's the same story, but in a different way from his perspective. And then the physician, okay, this guy Luke, takes it up, and in his writing, chapter 8, 40 of Luke, his writings 43 through to 48, so 5 verses, tells the story very shortly. It's a triumphant story of victory of somebody that was suffering for 12 years, and then in an instant, okay, in the straightwayness of a setting. So I would like us to go and touch, okay, to touch the essence, to pull out what was it that caused the suffering to stop instantly. Wouldn't you like to know? Okay, so I'm not going to talk deep on the Quran or the Bible um, version. We're not going to look at it. Is it hadith or criteria? Excessive flow of bleeding in that way. We're looking at it allegorically. So that in the story, the woman was discharged as legally unclean, and there are people today that are discharged as unlegally unclean or contaminated. Did have you got COVID and stuff? But I'm not teaching it. I'm not giving this segment is not coming for it because of COVID. I'm making that clear. It's got nothing to do with it. It's just a situation that people find themselves in today. And I'm saying that even as something affects the whole world and it's important, it's very important. The healing is very important for us. I hope you agree. So anyway, quickly get on. And spent she visited with and spent every penny she had on medicine and on physicians. Okay? And according to these writers, each one of these writers that did their investigations before they wrote it, everyone said that in fact of getting better, she grew worse. Okay? In fact, she grew worse. That's every one of those writers, the three writers, said she got worse and worse after her consultations and treatments. Now, what have you been suffering with? What is your condition? I am asking us to pause today to look at condition of our life, physically, emotionally. That means how are you feeling? Financially, just look at these things that cripple you. How long has it been going on? And then we can sort of have an identity in our allegorical story today. Because this was going on for 12 years. Maybe yours been going on for 30, 40, 50 years, 10 years. I don't know. I don't know how old you are. I don't know how old your condition is. But I know that this allegorical condition that we're talking about of somebody suffering from an issue, they call it the issue of blood, which I'm not changing it, but I'm causing you to look from a different vantage point. Okay? I'm deeply moved and fascinated, really, not so much with the suffering, but by the swiftness. As one writer described the straightwayness of her healing. That tells me, there's three words I would like you to write down. The effortless. Effortless. It was effortless. Do you know, for something to be judged as really wonderful, most people are saying, well, how much effort do you have to put in? How much training do you have to put in? How much, the process? How long is the process? Most people can tell you something in an instant, really, in one session, but they pull it out for some reason. It's just the way that our society train us, isn't it? So, but this happened effortless, timeless. Come on. That's why when we take in our meditation, the quick, swift meditation, it's also a medication, by the way. Spiritual medication is meditation, okay? So when we took that deep breath to start our segments and we take a deep, grateful breath and we become very aware in that presence, we are entering into the realm of timelessness. And so that is why we do it, okay? It's not just a ritual. It's not a ritual. We enter into the timeless because we become unconscious of time and we become conscious in that awareness, in that now moment, and miracles happen, you see. So I've given you a secret there, isn't it? So I'm fascinated by the straightwayness of timelessness, effortlessness, and instancy of the cure. And if we can get into that, it's wonderful for our life. Okay, so in the cure, let me tell you what it was. Are you waiting? It was a simple touch. One touch. Say with me this morning, or if you're listening to this and it's afternoon or night, whatever time, and you hear this segment now, just say with me, just one touch. Can you say with me? Just one touch. Just one touch. Just one touch. Allow that sense of life itself with all its fullness of beauty and strength and vigor and wonderfulness and indescribable possibility and infinite intelligence to touch you right now. Hallelujah. Yes, just one touch. That was the cure that took place. That instantly, miraculously. So let's enter a little bit more in the story. So I'm going to ask this question. Do you think it's possible for transformation to take place overnight? Can transformation take place instantly or on the spot? My answer to you today, by the way, if you've just joined me, this is Life University's Life Church, and I am your life host today on your global spiritual community portal, and my name is the Reverend Dr. Donisi Palmer Wallace. Welcome and thank you for joining me. Our segment topic today is, wait for it, touching heaven, touching God, the issue of blood, and the issue of love. Thank you. Transformation can take place instantly. Okay, today the answer is yes to you. Whatever you have been going through, thinking you might go through, the answer today is yes. Transformation can take place. It's an effortless, timeless, instant solution and cure. Okay, so in our story then, let's continue very quickly. This woman heard, this was her thing. Your faith has healed you. Go in peace. Can I say to you these words today? Yes, your faith can heal you. What do you hear? Can you hear when I said your faith can heal you? Do you hear your faith heals you? Can you say to yourself, my faith heals me? Then I say to you, go in peace. Can you say, I am in peace? I have peace. These were and are the healers or the sources, diagnosis and prognosis. What is your diagnosis? What have you been diagnosed with? And what is your prognosis of the situation? Is it in this instant? Now, sometimes, let me tell you, it's very unusual because you can hold a diagnosis or you can enter into the prognosis of the diagnosis. You can say to yourself today, I am well. You're looking at the scar and looking from matter base, it doesn't look well, does it? You're looking at the outward fruit, but the inward fruit is well. And when we join and merge, okay, with the truth that's inside, the truth of what is, out will emerge. It will emerge. Never mind about the timeline. The timeline on matter base is quite different to the spiritualness of your consciousness, which is what I'm going to touch on today. She confessed immediately, I touched you, I drew virtue. She was willing at that point. Before, she was hiding because she had had an issue with blood in the story. But allegorically, it's the issue with blood, okay? Because the truth is the life is in the blood, all right? Your life is tied up in your blood. You don't believe me? When you get ill, they draw blood. They're looking at what is affecting you. But she was saying, I touched heaven. I drew virtue from the Christ. I touched heaven. You can't touch heaven and not touch God. You can't touch God and not touch life. So the issue then, she no longer had an issue with blood because why? She touched life. She touched heaven. The life is in the blood. This woman's issue was one of love because life and love and God is one. Her issue was that of love. Allegorically speaking, yes, we're talking about the story with the woman with the issue of blood was the issue of love. And it may be the same for you, your life, and my life today. The real issue was her coming in contact with love. We have heard over and over on these segments and, in books and readings that God is love. her issue was not with her natural blood or the flow of menstrual blood. She couldn't stop this hemorrhage that made her smelly, and she had to hide and in the story get down on her knees in the dust and touch the hem of Jesus's garment, and then she was made whole. She touched Jesus, representing life, representing love. Because in all the writings, we are told that Jesus, we are told that God, we are told that life, God is love. Right? God is love. God is life. So when she reached out, when she reached out and touched, she was touching life. Because in her body was decaying. But when she reached out and touched the source of life, she touched love. Could you imagine how unloved she must have felt? This morning I'm speaking to somebody. You might be feeling unloved. You might be feeling unappreciated. You might be feeling ill and absolutely fed up of your situation. But I would like you to know today that I am inviting you to reach deeper, reach up, and reach over. Okay? There's a place in consciousness that is called up and over. Up and over. Transcend barriers of what you can see and what you can feel in your natural body, and go beyond a place where your breath comes from, where your breath gets its life. God is love. Life is love. And here we see the picture of a woman kneeling in the dust. The next picture, in the final picture, she is the center stage. As she reached out and as she touched life, she reached into that place of consciousness where she said, I am going to do it. I'm going to touch. I'm going to go down on my knees and on my belly. This is it. And as she was able to lift her hand high, when the person, Jesus turned around and said, who touched me? Because somebody touched me. Now, the touch I'm talking about is not just your fingers touching something that is going to pass away. She reached out and she touched into that spaciousness of possibility. She reached out her inner awareness that there is healing in that space, and she reached out, she touched it. When she reached out, before she reached out, she saw herself reaching out. She saw herself touching the base of healing. She saw herself when she pulled back her hand that her whole body, her whole situation would change. Today, what are you seeing? Will you reach out your inner awareness and see the possibility, see your circumstance change, and touch those circumstances with, how do you do that? What is the hand that can reach out? The hand that reached out was her imagination. In her imagining, she created an image of being whole when she touched the garment, the hem of the garment. Today, can you reach out in your imagination and see yourself touching the good, touching the wholeness? And as you touch the wholeness, you're touching life, you're touching love. The story tells us that she touched the master's holy garments. Oh, yes, you cannot wear fear. Oh, no, 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 no. You cannot wear fear. And most people are touched. What they're touching is things that's going to fade away. But she reached out and she touched the garment of possibility, which is infinite intelligence. She reached out and touched the realm of infinite possibilities. She reached out and touched the realm beyond the physical manifestation of finance, but she touched the value, she touched the worth of what she required to be whole. Who or what are you touching today? How long have you had your issue? The issue of blood, your bloodline, your genealogy is not one of physical blood. It's the issue of love. Do you love yourself enough today to throw off the garments of doubt, of fear, of small-mindedness and miserableness and sorrow? Take it off, take off the cloak and touch the garments of love, of laughter, of joy, of peace. Touch it today. Shake off the woe and the gloom and touch that realm today. You're invited, you're invited, you're invited. Come with me and touch the garments of love. And in timelessness and instancy, you can be made whole. Most people have been cut off from love through fear, through abandonment, through class, through just carrying on and history. But I tell you today, heaven in our story, in our allegorical story, is our awareness. That is it, a place of consciousness that all is possible. That's the allegory we're talking about of heaven today, of life, of God, of goodness, of greatness, of truth, of the all, of the one, of the source of all, of your well-being. There is a place called heaven, which is your well-being of wealth, well-being of strength, well-being of opportunity. You're invited to come to that place today. You're invited to heaven today. What is the topic today? The topic is touching heaven, touching God. The issue of blood is the issue of love. Finally, as I come to a close, be of good comfort. I comfort you today. The word comes to comfort you. This fresh thought, this living word says, be of good comfort today. Be of good comfort today. Your faith has saved you. Your faith, your imagination. How do you image God? What is it you don't image God in the likeness of man, but in the likeness of possibility. It's interesting that it didn't say that man was made in the image of man, but man was made in the image of God. Man was made in the image of life, which can never die. I mean, it makes sense, is it? If it's life, then there is no death in life. Yet, if there was such a thing as death in life, it is made alive. So the life of life and resurrection is one in the same. So you don't have to worry about the in-between. In fact, there is no in-between because life is everywhere. Oh, you get this and you get heaven. If heaven is a state, listen to this, then you have to enter that state. You need to become very mindful to enter into that realm, to stay in that realm. For most of us, or for some, you might have to adjust your inner lens. We've heard about that several times in our segments. You may need to throw away the drama. Come out of hiding. What papers do you need to dwell here? You know, when we think about dwelling in a state, various states have their own, they have their own governments, don't they, in various states. What papers do you need? What is it that you need to dwell in this state we call heaven? Because we want to touch heaven and we want to touch God. We know if you can touch heaven, you're touching something blissful. We know if you're touching God, you're touching something good. So it's an issue of blood. That's who you are. Without blood, you don't exist. The life is in the blood. So I talk a lot about life. In fact, it's called Life University, Life Church, because it's about you and it's about me. It's about life. And that life is in our blood cells. It's the life that keeps us alive. It's life that, calls you to be who you are. So we need to become aware of that realm beyond the physical, beyond just the emotional. Okay, we need to create with our thoughts, with our imagination, the things that are true, the things that are right. But in order to do that, we need to stop worrying and stop being fearful and stop doubting. And as we do that and enter into this spaciousness of this now moment of possibility, our lens gets adjusted. The drama is gone. We come out of the hiding. What papers or what do we need? We only need to enter, and we will be made a free citizen of heaven, of wealth, of health, of love, of peace, of joy, and we are given extra time to enjoy them all. Problem with virus and things like issues of blood, looking at it from just a physical point of view, it's about separation. Virus is always about separation. You will get the patient and you separate them from their family. If they're boiling, they're burning up with a fever, they're going into a room. You don't want to get close because you don't know what they have. When you find out what they have, you protect yourself. They get the vaccine, blah blah blah. They don't get the vaccine, they get a medicine, they get a tablet, or they just wait it out. Some illness you just have to wait. If you got a chronic pain, sometimes there's no operation. It's about time. It's about how you manage the pain. If you might have a headache and you take some paracetamol or something, or you've just become very mindful. You become mindful of the life that lives you, that is painless, and you enter into that magnificent way, and you find that healing takes place. But the truth is, the problem with the separation the truth with virus or sickness is a separation. And we know that God is not about separation. God is about unity, is about healing, it's about wholeness, it's about one. So in this story, we see as we come to a close that the problem was in love, there is no separation. So the problem was separation. This woman was separated from all the people. That is why she wasn't standing. She was on her knees, going through people's legs, wherever she could find a space. I'm sure people steps on her where she went in a crowd. The crowd, people was throng. They were all around the master teacher, and she pressed her way, not even to come up to his face, but she pressed her way on the floor, crawling on her belly, just to touch the garment, because she had one vision. She was saying, "Up, look, all my money is gone." Just like people are chasing money today. Okay, they're spending. Do you know what most people are spending to make money? They're spending their time. Don't tell me you haven't got money. If you have time, if you are alive, you are wealthy, because our time should be our money. What you do in your time is how wealthy or how healthy you are. Okay, so people have spent their time, their free time, their glorious time chasing money, spending all the time touching death, touching something that will pass away. You can have all the money you want in the bank, but you have to spend it. Okay, for you to have the things that you need, you have to spend it. That means the more you have, the more you spend. The woman came in contact with life and she was healed. Today, you can be totally healed and delivered and made whole. I'm just going to cut to the chase because I've told you a lot. There's a lot of little nuggets that you can pick up in the 38 minutes that you can pick up lots of nuggets. So I didn't just go on and on because there are nuggets in there to keep you. If you listen to it over and over, you'll find little nuggets. But I'm cutting to the chase right now. I'm coming down to a close today. And I'm saying today, just as the Christ said to that woman today, you can be totally healed. She believed. In fact, she didn't just believe when the word was spoken. She believed before the word was spoken. She made a decision. She drew an image. She created that image of the truth. And she launched out into heaven in her awareness. She launched out in her awareness and imagination. And she touched the zone of possibility. And the minute she touched it, the minute she imagined that she was whole, she felt whole and she was whole. She was made whole. So today I say you can be totally delivered from whatever is your problem, whatever is the issue in your blood. You said, I haven't got an issue of blood. Well, you're not alive. Because as long as your cells is operating, they are filled with blood. It's an issue of love. You're loved today. You're made free by your own faith. How and what do you need to do? That's the question and that's the answer. Touch heaven. You've got to touch heaven. How do I touch heaven? Tell me plain and straight. Because somebody said to me, just tell me, just give me the clue. But I told you all the process and mechanism. Now Here is the truth. Touch heaven. Become aware, become conscious, and here in your conscious awareness of this now moment of possibility, you touch God. You touch God in your awareness, your own faith, your own imagination and consciousness create your world and your experience. Whether you believe it or not, if that is your consciousness, if that is your imagination, foolish, foolish girl or boy today, if you can put an imagination that you don't have to do anything and it's something being done for you out there, then that's what you imagine is possible. But if you can say and you can see, if you can see and you can say, it is well, and see it well, it is well, because you would have joined up with that realm that we call God, joined up with that realm we call the truth, and in that truth you are made free. She touched the impossible. She touched the prohibited realm. Today there's a realm called the prohibited realm, but when you enter into that realm of full possibility, you know the difference with a prohibited realm that is bad, like you see it says explosive, don't go in there. In what I'm talking about, the prohibited realm in this scenario is the realm of healing, is the realm of health. Everything that is a wealth and goodness and love and peace and joy and affluence and influence and possibilities, all those things. What are you living for anyway? What is it you want to experience? Oh, I would like to have a nice Ferrari, or I mean, that's not the new car these days. I want to have a big Jeep, and I want to have a wonderful spouse, and I want to have my children successful, and I want to look good. But really and truly, you want to feel good. It's all about feelings, isn't it? It's all about feelings. So, what are you imagining? Well, I don't have to imagine because this is how I feel. Really? Is that what you imagine? That what you're feeling that's negative is the truth? Why not have a new imagination that it is all well? Well, how am I going to do that if it's, yeah, because you see, you're still holding on to an old imagination of even a minute ago. Oh, well, I'm having a pain. What if you imagine that you didn't have the pain? What would you look like? What would you feel like? Well, I feel like I'm pretending. Well, that's okay. But what if you were feeling as if you were pretending, but then it was working? You would go on feeling it. Then you would be it. Jesus said, it's very interesting. He said, I am the way. I am the truth. Well, the fact is, after saying that, they just came and beat him and picked off his beard and put some thorns on his head and holes in his arms, they said, and holes in his feet and big hole in his side, burst his kidney and died, they said, and was in the grave 3 days, and that was it. But guess what? All this time, this imagination, the image he drew of himself was that I am resurrection. I am life. I am resurrection. I am the way. I am the truth. Doesn't matter what you say. I am the truth. Everything else is a lie, basically. I am the truth, okay? Because he was speaking from a place of the I am. And he lined up with that and says, you know what? I am that I am. That I am, which is the truth, is that I am. That's deep. We're not going to go into that because that's for another time. But today's message is serious. This is my final words. Touch heaven. Become aware. Become conscious. Here, you touch God. You touch God in your awareness, your own faith, your own imagination, and consciousness of what is good. That's what I was trying to say. People can imagine and conjure up all type of things that separate them from heaven. I mean, it looks real, but basically that's not true, is it? You're just going to get more of what you want, and it's always going to lead to death. If you believe that you are alive forever, you can live forever, you're alive forever, but you're alive well. If that's your imagining, you will never get up a day and not feel good. If you believe happiness is the source of your being, is the template of your soul, Every single day you're happy because it's what you believe, it's your imagination, it's what you're conscious of. Do you understand what I'm saying today? It's very simple. If you believe you are the best, because you see, to actually touch heaven, what is in your imagination? What are you imagining? How do you see? Let me use words like what you might understand. What's your awareness? What are you conscious of when you say heaven? Because that's another situation, and that's for another week. Perhaps we'll do that next week. Because if in your mind you're holding heaven to be that Baptists are over there, um, Muslims are over here, Jews are over here, Christians are over here. In fact, some people are saying certain groups are not even here. I can see them over there. They're here. Some are burning, some are screaming, some are shouting. So, do you know? I mean, where is God? It's a very unusual situation. That God, who is everywhere. Do you know who understood this? There's a writer called David. In fact, he was a great king. So let's give him the title. You know, we don't say, oh, Elizabeth. We don't know. We say Queen Elizabeth or the Queen. So His Majesty King David said, if I make my bed, or if I should make my bed, or when I make my bed in hell, even there, God is. And the writers and lots of other writers said that King David was a friend. Yeah, that God actually said. I don't know how they know, but this is what it said. God actually said. All right. And people believe that David was a friend of God. Okay. So if that is the case, and David said, if I make my bed in hell, even there my friend God is going to be with me. If I make my bed in heaven, even there. So God is everywhere. Life is everywhere. You can't get away from life. Whether you're in the body or you're out the body called death. Listen, you are still living the life that is really you. So you have to get used to the fact that you're not what you look at in the mirror as skin, because the skin is only alive because life is living it. And if we come to the fact that the life that is living through the skin, living the cells, is God, is life, is beauty, is goodness, is joy. There is no separation, there is no death, there is no war. It seems like it is. But when you are in a conscious awareness of the truth, so many people say, I believe in this, I believe in this. It's a lie. You listen to how they live. Listen, I was with a powerful minister, powerful person who talk about God. And I said these very words. And they were so angry with me because I said that people who say they're following God or following life or following Christ do not believe a word of it. It's all a farce. It's all a front. You look at their action, you listen to their words. For instance, they say, I'm following somebody who said, follow me and I will, follow me, do what I do. They're not doing anything. They're not walking on water. They're not, you know, they're not being loved. They cannot even, if they would say this, oh, I am light, I am love, I am the way, I am the resurrection. What? I don't want to blaspheme. I can't say that. But you're following somebody who told you to follow them and do exactly what I do, but you're not doing it. So how can you convince anybody that you're following this person? Because you're not. Today, I bring you back to this. I went off on a tangent because I really need for us to get this today, because life, these are fresh thought life words. These is life words. This is God's word. This is life words. This is the truth. This is the Almighty One saying, touch me, touch God, touch life. God is in your awareness and your consciousness. What are you aware of today? Just your negative fear? No. She touched the impossible. She touched the prohibited realm and she went beyond. She went above the physical. She had it with this realm of matter and decay. She said, this is my time. And in her reaching forward, she held one thing in her mind. This time, she saw the impossible so possible. She saw her healing. She touched it. How in her imagination she held it and she drew it into her mind so that she drew it into her body. The belief took on her shape of her faith. Write that down. My belief takes on the shape of my faith. Say it again. My belief takes on the shape of my faith. Say it again. My belief takes on the shape of my faith. Her belief took on the shape of her faith, and that is what the master said. Your faith has made you whole. Your imagination is your faith. Okay? You did not know that until today. So many, I can see it like corn going in a plowed field. Some of these words are falling on dry ears. In fact, so many people have turned off at 12 minutes, 18 minutes, 22 minutes, a few minutes ago. If you are still here listening, let me tell you, your imagination is your faith. And Christ said, your faith has made you whole. Your imagination has made you whole. The strength of your faith, the power of your imagination will make it happen. If your imagination, if you can imagine it, that you could believe in God and God lives you in your breath and you are unwell and you're not whole and you're in lack and things are happening that is not, come on, get real. This is the truth. Life loves you. I end here today. Life loves you because life is love. The cure is in life. Life loves you. Life is in you. The life is where? In the blood. So what is it? The issue of blood. What is the issue of blood? It's the issue of love because God is love. Life is love. You have access then to the life of the blood through your consciousness of the life in you. You are made whole. Today you are cured. Your pocketbook, your finance is cured. You have to believe it. You have to see it. You have to see it. You have to see it. See it. What the world needs now is, you remember the song, what the world needs now is love, pure love. Yes, the world needs love. We are looking for the cure. It is in your own sweet imagination. It's in your own sweet breath. So now we are covering up. No one can breathe on us. We don't even want to breathe on anybody. We don't want to touch the virus, which is allegoric in our story today. That separation. But today, life invites you to touch it. Touch it. Touch this goodness. Touch its possibility. Smile. Smile because the life in you is smiling. See it. Can you see it? Can you imagine yourself smiling and feeling happy and free today? Can you imagine that when you finish listening to this segment and go about your normal business, that it is no longer normal, but it's super normal, which we call supernatural, that is glorious, that something good is going to happen, that something good is happening? In fact, you can change your language. You can change your language. You can have a new language this week. Something good is happening. I am tired. I'm not even going to say that anymore. I refuse to say I'm tired because it sounds so good and it sounds natural to say I'm tired of. Today, I was going to say I'm tired of people saying it's going to happen, but I'm not tired. I've just let it go. I no longer wish to hear that. What I want to hear and what I see people saying is today is my day. Touch the Christ. I'm touching the Christ of my soul. In touching the Christ in my soul, I am touching heaven. In touching heaven, I am touching God. I am touching life, or life is touching me. So then, in closing, finally, the issue of blood, your bloodline, your ancestral line, is the issue of love. Allow life to issue out from you. That consciousness, that awareness will heal your blood, and you will be every whit, and you are every whit whole, well, free. Amen. Let's take a deep breath as we seal this segment today. Claim it for yourself and say, this is me. This is my freedom. I take it and I have it now. So it is. Amen. Have a great week. If you have enjoyed this segment, why not give us a thumbs up, pass it on to somebody else, leave a comment or leave a prayer request. If you would like to donate, you can head over to the PayPal website, and the place to donate is lulifechurch@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Bless you and have a wonderful whole free week touching heaven, touching God.